Hey Pinewood families, it's Mr. Nitz. Today is Thursday, April 2nd, and here is today's video for your work at home. Before we begin that work at home, I'm sure that many of you have heard just about an hour ago, the governor of Michigan made the announcement that we all kind of knew was coming, but was never official until today, and that is the one that said that we will be at home for school for the whole rest of the year. So that question being answered now in turn asks about 10 more questions and makes you want to know things, and we don't know the answer to all those. One of those would be what's going to happen with summer break. And I did read one thing on WWJ this morning that said there's a possibility that we would go back to school early in August. I don't know if that means August 1 or August 20th or what that means. But that just goes to show you that we're never going to make any announcements as a district until it's actually official. A lot of parents have been asking me, is this going to last through the whole year? I can always give my opinion, but I never want to make an announcement until we know for sure. And so that news is actually still very new, just within the last minutes, but it was made this morning by the governor. So let's get right to today's work. In reading today, you should be on RazKids. The report that I got this Monday showed that only about 60% of our class has been regularly visiting RazKids. Now, I know that school at home can be tough, and sometimes there's assignments and things that I ask you to do that are very difficult to do on your own. To be honest with you, RazKids is not one of those things. This should be something that's completely driven by the student. Parents, your students should be able to log on, choose selections to read, and take the quizzes that go with it. Students that are watching this video, you need to be in charge of you. You need to be getting those reading minutes in. And I know that I'm trying to be flexible on a lot of different things, but to be honest, the RazKids one shouldn't require flexibility. The only person that might have difficulty with this is the one that has internet access issues. And it sounds like everybody that I've heard from so far from that survey has some sort of internet at home. Still waiting on those last few responses to find out who has internet at home and who has a laptop or other device at home that they can work on. I know that a phone can kind of work, but it's much better if you have something that has keyboard and you can see a full screen and those types of things. So I appreciate families and the ways that you've been making it work. RazKids is one of those ways that you can make it work. Next, in writing, you should be working on revising and editing your paper today. So yesterday you should have finished your draft for your literary essay on the book Hatchet. Tomorrow we will be finishing the book Hatchet. I'm going to do a read aloud tomorrow from chapter 19 and the epilogue to finish the book. It's been a great book, and so the paper that you guys have been writing is called a literary essay. It's not a book report. I keep saying that over and over again, but it takes an idea that's true about life, a thesis statement, and it shows how the book Hatchet proves that and shows it throughout the book. You should be asking someone else to revise and edit your paper with you. Read it to them. Ask questions that are simple, like, does it look right? Does it sound right? Sentence by sentence is one of the ways that we have learned to check our work, revising it one sentence at a time. Read a sentence, have someone listen to it and say, does that sound good? Does it sound right? And then having someone look onto the paper with you and looking at each sentence one by one and saying, does it look right? Do I need to change anything? You have plenty of time to do that today, so that's your only work is revising and editing. Tomorrow we'll work on final copy. In math today, you're doing 2 pages, page 181, some math boxes, and page 22P. The Schoology website, probably more math than anything, is going to be helpful in solving those. You're going to be doing 6 different types of questions on the math boxes, so the individual directions are all typed up there, as well as page 22P is, I believe, multiplying decimals. And remember, the rule for multiplying decimals is simply ignore the decimal, multiply the numbers as normal, and then to decide where to put the decimal in your answer. There's 2 ways. First is to think about what makes sense. The second one that many students have jumped onto is the idea of count the number of places after the decimal in the 2 numbers that you're multiplying combined, and that's how many numbers should be after the decimal in the answer. For example, if I did 3.1 times 0.77, well, I've got a 1 after the 3.1, and a 7 and a 7 after the decimal in 0.77. So I want to make sure that in my decimal answer I have 3 numbers after the decimal in the place. The other way just talks about estimating where it should be. Well, if I figure 3 times a number that's just a little bit smaller than 1, my answer should be pretty close to 3. So I'm going to put my decimal in a place that's a little bit, make sure the answer is a little bit less than 3. In social studies, by now you should be finished with both your highlighting of the big ideas cards and the stop sign paper that's talked about the events leading up to the war. Obviously, if we're at episode 23, 24, and 25 today, the war is in full swing. Remembering to keep in mind that there are 2 wars going on. There's the war with guns and bullets and soldiers that is seemingly obvious, but then there's also the war between 2 countries and the decision that Great Britain wants to keep America under their control and that America wants to become its own country. So you've kind of got that in front war, and then you've got that behind the scenes war. As you're watching episodes today, look for evidence of both of those things happening. In Mystery Science today, there's another fun video. It's about inventing toys. So some of you are inventors and love creating things. This should be a fun one for you to watch. Remember that in Schoology, it reminds you that 2 per week of those Mystery Science videos, you should be recording a response in your notebook in a section titled Science. So if you haven't done any of those yet this week, you can go back to one that you already did and pick one of those that you'd like to write a response to, or just do Thursdays and Fridays, because you should be hitting 2 of those. That's about it for today. A reminder that your work each day is important. Checking into Schoology is going to be something that's going to be very important, especially moving forward as we start to look at what does new learning look like. Almost everything we've been doing so far has been a review. And so if you think about the schedule over the next couple of weeks, we have today and tomorrow for this week. Next week is a week off. I would say that really, if you've done all of your work up to this point, there is going to be no new assignments, no other work assigned, other than just that we'd love you to keep reading over the break as well. But if you didn't finish some of your writing stuff, this would be the time to pick that up. The week following that, the week that starts with April 13th, we will have 1 more week of continuing learning. So a little bit lighter work like we've been doing, maybe 1 hour plus some reading total. But the week that follows that, the week that starts April 20th, and now we know for sure will last through the end of the school year, that work will be covering new topics for us. So we'll be building on other things that we did this year, but it's going to be a lot of new things. And so I'll be starting to tape myself, video myself, teaching math concepts, showing writing work, reading work, all that kind of stuff. We're probably going to be digging into the social studies online newspapers. We've done that before, the Studies Weekly. So we're going to be going back and looping through some Revolutionary War stuff as well as moving into the Constitution. And Mrs. Clark will be helping me figure out some of the science stuff that we're going to be doing as well. So some of the new topics that we haven't covered yet this year in science. Hopefully you are still with me. We're about 8 minutes into this video. It's about to be finished. But I want to go online tonight and talk with parents. So there's going to be a YouTube live event tonight that is for parents. Kids are welcome to watch too, but I would love students that are watching this for you to remind your parents. We're going to shoot for 7:30 tonight, 7:30 p.m. YouTube live. I'm going to address some questions from parents, as well as hopefully give you a little bit of guidance and reminders of what you can do to help your student, and also reminders of what you can expect your student to do for themselves. So I know that with the governor's announcement today and just starting to think ahead into the future, it's probably going to raise 100 questions. In a half hour, I don't think I can address 100 questions, but I want to get to as many of them as I can. I will promise to keep the video at 30 minutes or under, not to take up your whole evening. So tune in with me tonight. If you don't know how to watch a YouTube live event, your kids will show you how. It's really just going online at the exact same time that a video is being posted, and it allows you as the viewer, parents, you'll be able to post questions over in the margin, and hopefully I'll be able to answer those on the fly. And if not, I'll need to make sure that we get your name in there. I'll probably do some sort of a roll call in the beginning, that might say, this is Aaron Nitz, I'm Zeke's dad. So some of you, especially if the last name is different or if you have a cool YouTube name, I might not recognize who it is right away. So to identify yourself, and that way I'll know who's in the meeting with us and who's had questions answered and who heard all of this important information. So thanks again for watching, parents, and maybe some of you students. I'll see you tonight at 7:30, and have a great day.